Once again, guys, welcome back to the channel. We're talking Sons of Liberty again, our vendor spotlight or our manufacturer spotlight. I was able to get some footage when I went and picked up the rifle that they had fixed up for me. Was able to sit down with Mike Paez and kind of talk about some things, kind of really delve down into business stuff, material science, the design of some of these rifles. And so one of the things I want to share with y'all today and what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about core competencies when it comes to manufacturing. So I know when Sons first came out on the scene, and this happens a lot with other manufacturers, a lot of people kind of like to talk smack and say, hey, you really aren't a manufacturer. You're not manufacturing the parts. You're just an assembler. You're just building those things. So guys, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about core competencies. So while vertical integration is a great idea, it might not necessarily be the best thing depending on what you do. And so what vertical integration is, the best way I can describe it, is you own the entire process from conception all the way until that product ending or getting into the customer's hands. So it would be as if you owned the you owned the mill that poured the 7075 forgings, and then you actually owned the forge shop that actually made those things, and then you owned the machine shop that machined them out, and then you also owned the assembly process, the design process of putting those things together and then shipping them out. Hardly any company does that, and so that's what I want to talk about, especially when it comes to Sons. They are focusing, their main goal is building and producing duty-made rifles that are designed to be run and to do work. And when you start talking about, kind of moving some of your focus towards manufacturing or making your own parts, then you're moving away from what the original, what you're good at. Sons of Liberty is great at building and producing and getting out the door solid rifles. There are other companies out there to where their main focus and what they are good at, they are great at building bolt carrier groups like Microbest. I've never been to their facility, but I can tell you they probably have the manufacturing of their bolts and their carriers and everything else. They have that down to a science. They're buying that material for the best price that they can buy it for. Their machine operation is probably optimized as best as they can. They're using the best tools, they're using the best procedures, and so they are able to produce a high quality product at the best possible price. So let's say Sons decided to go set up a shop and they wanted to start making bolt carrier groups, because one of the things Mikey talked about is, the summer of 2020, there was kind of a bolt carrier group shortage. There were some well-known manufacturers who were putting in POs with Microbest for like 50, 60,000 bolt carriers, when Sons, who might have been, 15,000, that PO kind of got pushed to the side. So let's say they wanted to make their own bolt carrier groups. Okay, well, you've got to have the facilities for it. You've got to have a CNC machine for that. So you've got that investment. You've got to run power to it. You've got the tooling. You got to have the programming done for it. You've got to have an operator who knows how to run that. And if all that stuff is not as optimized as somebody like Microbest, then you're just throwing away money and you're just throwing away time. So that's one of the things that I enjoyed about Sons of Liberty. Like I said, yeah, that might be in their long-term goals, but right now their focus is on designing, producing, building solid rifles. Another thing you also have to take into account is, and a good example is when LaRue Tactical went from kind of outsourcing a lot of their stuff to building, especially their barrels, everything in-house. Guys, there is some ramp-up time that takes to get to that point to where you can sell an end product. You get to the point to where, hey, I finally got this widget or whatnot that is exactly as I want to. Well, it takes time to get to that point. That time could be spent doing things that you are much better at. So while, yeah, they ended up with a great process, and I'm not sure when they started making stuff in-house, you do have a period of time where you're not producing as much as you could, and your sales aren't what they could be. And especially right now in this market, trying to dip your foot into a different pool, starting something new, especially, you know, trying to manufacture your own things just to save some money, it's going to take time to get that ramped up and to get that entire process to the point to where it's on par of what you used to be purchasing from somebody else who that's what their specialty was. There's going to be a time gap, and so you're going to be losing money, you're going to be losing productivity. And right now, like I said, talking with Mike, their goal is to produce as many rifles as they can, getting them out the door while still holding their tight quality control tolerances and whatnot. So yeah, guys, so you think about, you know, trying to do as many things as you can. If you're good at a whole bunch of stuff, then you're never really a master at one. And so that's kind of, I think, what they really want to focus on right now. They want to get so good at building these rifles that nobody else can really touch them. So while it might be a good idea, or you might think, you know, hey, you know, they're not manufacturing anything. Well, actually, they also have some input into the design of their products, like their dead air Knox. That's not a dead air product. That is a Sons product that they actually got with some engineers and some scientists to develop that product that just so happens to fit dead air silencers. So yeah, there you have their focus, their core competencies are building and designing and assembling products. Let somebody else that's good at manufacturing, let them manufacture, because that's what they do. Focus on the things that you're good at, because if not, guys, a lot of times you actually might lose your ass on that one. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy talking about these companies, if you enjoy talking and back, you know, getting into the more material science, getting into the manufacturing side of it, guys, let me know in the comment section below. I love talking about this stuff. It is a passion of mine. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet subscribed, we would love it if you become a part of the family, a part of the channel. Go ahead and hit that smash that like button. Guys, thank you again. Sons of Liberty, awesome, awesome people, awesome, awesome rifles, core competencies. Find out what you're good at, do that thing, and pay everybody else to do the other stuff. That's what it's all about. Guys, be safe, be smart, be skilled. We'll catch you on the next video.
As of right now, say in a perfect world where there wasn't a Democrat, you know, administration, if things were a perfect world, we would probably look at bringing things like rails and smaller things that we can do internally into the shop, just for savings of space and cost.
Control purposes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're going to remain having Zev do our receiver parts. You figured Meg, Zeva, it probably makes some of the best parts out there. The cost we're able to maintain. If we brought that stuff in-house, we would have to have a whole cut shop dedicated. We'd have to run power, we'd have the machines, have to have guys program the machines, and guys on that machine basically 24 hours. Unfortunately, to be able to afford all that, that cost would have to go to somewhere. So then you go from getting a damn good rifle for 1,700 bucks, probably paying, I haven't seen them, I think he's probably up at the lumberyard. Then you're paying, you know, almost a third more.
Just because y'all want to.
Just because we're having to, you know, bring that stuff in house. That's.
I understand, man.
Yeah, but
core competencies.
And plus there's a big risk when you start bringing stuff like that in, because a prime example is LaRue. Once LaRue, that time frame that LaRue started making everything in house, like they brought the barrels in, that quality dropped down because they're trying to find that right niche that'll work for their system. So if you bought a LaRue in like 2014, 2015, you know, the quality compared to the stuff that they made in, you know, 2012, and then maybe a little bit more recently, you'll see that variance. And that is something that we have concern about, because we would prefer, you know, anytime you make changes, it happened to us when we made the move. There was a little drop in some, not necessarily quality, QA, QC, but just in what we're doing, how we're doing.
It takes time to get ramped up.
Exactly. But when you're dealing with something of that large of a scale, that high profile, then it becomes a concern with, can you take that hit?
Yeah.
And then especially in the market at this point in time, we can't afford to be down or be out parts, because it would take a certain amount of time. You have that lag time going from production, then moving right into building your own stuff, and then having to ensure that you have that dialed in before you go live. It's just, in a business sense, not a good move. And then in the current climate, that's something that would kill you.